Hey guys, I'm back, and guess what? BattlBox made good on their express shipping. This thing took about a day to get to me from the day I got the shipping notification. So I have my BattlBox Mission 37 knife of the month, the Klecker Klax, which is actually not a knife at all. I'm Darth Gale, and I'm not a knife at all. Obscure reference, whatever. So let's jump in here and take a look. I promise I'm going to do shoutouts in the very next few videos. So, the Klecker Klax, yeah, I peeked in here already, is basically a multi-purpose axe head. So this is the Lumberjack model, they have another one. And the reason I put it all back in the box is just to show you guys what it's packed up as, how it comes right out of the box. It's not a straight unboxing like I normally do, but I just couldn't resist. It showed up a little too late yesterday to do the actual video. So you've got your instructions, which give you a full rundown of all of the tools that come as part of this thing. And let's get a nice shot of that right there. So these are all the different tools. Okay. And I guess the idea behind this, so you just pack this with you, and it's made to be mounted on a handle that you either make or you buy the one that Klecker builds and supplies. Now, I don't know. I'm going to have to actually, again, put text in for the prices because this doesn't include it. I think it does on the original Mission 37 card, which I don't have right here in front of me. So yeah, I'll look it up. The Klecker one is very nice. It's like all perfect. It has a centering pin to hold the head on, and it has these little notches for the clamps and everything. That's great. Has some safety warnings engraved right on there for what not to do with it. And it's got that, you know, classic axe hatchet handle shape. But the whole idea of the Klax is that you can use it on anything. You can make your own axe wherever you are. So I think what we're going to do today is we're going to look at this thing installed on the actual, you know, Klecker produced handle, and then we're going to take this fine gentleman right here and we're going to make a handle for it, and we'll see how easy it really is. They say it's so easy to do anywhere you are, anytime, using nothing but this right here. So first, let's take a look. So as the picture showed, you have a lanyard hole, you have a carabiner clip with no bottle opener, yay. These are the clamps that will hold it in place once it's on. You've got your wrenches of various sizes, you've got a line cutter, you've got a knife edge, and then you've got your basic cutting edge right there. And then a hammer, which you're not supposed to use on any kind of wood. I'm sorry, which you're not supposed to use on any kind of metal or any stone or anything like that. I guess it's just for, you know, wood use. And then a ruler. I guess that's, I don't know, 1/8 inch measurements on there. So putting this thing together is not too hard. First thing we're going to do is we're going to, this one's spring-loaded, so we pop it into position. And then we twist this one so we can move it into position. Come on. Twist. Twist it back so it's all the way open again. And then it slides right onto the handle. And again, this one has the centering pin, which puts it kind of perfectly in place. And then your hatchet is assembled. So pros and cons, I see this, unless you really crank this down super tight, which you probably don't want to do, because that's going to, I think, put way too much pressure on the screw and possibly damage the handle. I think this probably gets loose, and I think it says in the instructions too, you have to check the tightness every few hits, which is pretty inconvenient. But pros, I mean, assuming this thing holds together and works, so then you have an easier to pack hatchet because it comes apart in 2 separate parts instead of having to carry this fully assembled thing around everywhere you go. I haven't tested the edges on this at all, the knife edge or the actual cutting edge of the hatchet. So before we do any chopping and stuff, let's just see how the edges are right out of the package here. Now, being a hatchet, I don't expect it to be you know, paper test, cord cutting test sharp. I mean, it's a hatchet, it's not a knife blade. But let's just give it a shot and see what we've got. It's not too bad, actually. There's a 1, it's 2, and not a really messy cut, not bad. Let's test out this knife edge. I probably should have done this before I assembled the whole thing, but this is what I got now. It's not bad. It's actually really not a bad cut at all. And of course, here we are doing all this cutting of the cord. I don't have any paper out here to test paper-wise, but we've got this cutter right here, which actually cuts really, really well. That's not too bad. All right. In terms of its ability to actually chop some stuff, let's just line this little guy right up here. Let's just start with this little guy. Not too bad. We've already got that much wiggle introduced, so tighten it up again. Let's go right here. This is going to get tedious, this constant retightening. You know what? I've been told it's not very effective as a hatchet by some people, but it actually does a pretty good job of chopping through wood anyway. I mean, it's really what we are going to use the hatchet for, right? There I go, opening my big mouth. And I'm stopping the chopping at that point because this thing's just getting so loose. I don't want it to fly off. So I see what people, you know, as I opened my big mouth and said, it's not so bad at chopping, I see what people are starting to talk about, where this thing is just flopping around. So now I totally see what people were talking about when they said it's not very good for chopping. It's got a good edge, but it's hard to be consistent when your axe head keeps loosening and moving around, and that's really messing with the chop itself. I get it now. Let's see if we can just get this thing chopped through. No, see that? This loosens up way too quick to actually finish chopping this thing. So I guess the safest course of action when you're chopping through something thick is to get it steady and then just baton it. Now this piece of wood is not really thick and sturdy enough, I'm feeling, to do the batoning with. And even that is causing wiggle in this thing. I can't get through any amount of chops without this thing just getting totally loose and wiggling. So for your small type jobs, it works. As long as you don't need to do successive chopping to where this gets a chance to loosen up and wiggle. I don't even want to do the whole thing now where I do the cutting a stick to make a handle for it, because I think it's kind of a useless endeavor. I'm not gonna mess with this. That little blue hatchet that they sent in I think the Pro box is more of a reliable work tool than this thing. And I'm disappointed. I really wanted to like this. You guys know how I feel about my knife of the month. This thing is just disappointing. I was having a great day too. I got to hear the voice of an angel today. But this thing, what the hell? Interesting concept. if it didn't get so wobbly and it could actually hold onto the handle, it might be pretty good. But as is, I'm just really disappointed with this thing. Very disappointed with this thing. We did more damage to the stump here that I was chopping on than we did the actual block we were trying to chop. So how about that? So I'm very rarely really just disappointed with the knife of the month. But this knife of the month, not being a knife at all, just leaves me saying, look at that, that's actually pretty clean cut too. Nice little chop there. I'm not feeling this one. This is a pretty expensive tool as well. So I could see where it's got the pros of multiple uses and such, but I just don't feel like it provides the stability anybody would really need, except in an emergency situation. If you wanted to put this in a go bag for an emergency tool, great. But for something you're going to use, you know, regularly, I feel like you're better to just carry a real hatchet. I don't know. Anyway, at least it got here, and at least I gave it a try. And at least those of you who said you're going to not like it can do a big old I told you so dance. Bonus points for anybody who films and uploads their I told you so dance. But I guess that's it. So, okay guys, well anyway, as disappointing as this is, I still think all of you are totally awesome. I appreciate all of you, and I'll be back in real soon.